Alright, this is Marcella Argolis from SacramentoComedy.com. I'm here with Christopher Titus, who just got off the stage with Tommy T. You did 2 hours, I believe.
Did I do 2 hours? Oh, God, I apologize.
No, it was great. It was amazing. You said you did new material, which was
great.
Well, that was great. I know how that can kind of be a sense of relief.
Well, you know what it is? It's when you're doing new stuff, like you have to do it. I have a tendency to write a whole piece, like a 90-minute piece, and then when I get that piece filmed, I have to write new stuff, and then that starts to creep into the, you know. So then I'm doing almost the whole old show and part of the new show, so it's 2 hours. I have to cut it down. It's too much.
No, I mean it's great, but it's good to play also. So you started doing comedy when you were 18.
Yes, I was a fetus. Yes.
You were a fetus. So I don't know anything sure, but I was wondering if there's like a reluctancy when you start that age, or if there's a realization.
Oh, you're so young and stupid. I have no idea. I got on stage at the Senior Follies, and we did. I wanted to do it, and I started in 9th grade. Actually, we had a public speaking class, and I conned my teacher into saying, "Oh, we should all do a humor speech." So it was my first dead stab at it. Because I decided when I was 5 I wanted to be a comic.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, and so the whole class had to do this humor speech, and what my joy was that a lot of them were not funny at all. They hated it, and I was like, yeah, I was actually funny in 9th grade. And then cut to my senior year, and we did Senior Follies, and I wrote this 5-minute piece about how to trash can a freshman. And then we actually took a volunteer out, and we had a guy drag a freshman out screaming, and we dumped him in the trash can, and we did it at the Senior Follies. And then when I fell to that bonfire, I just thought, you know what, man, life's really short, and I could have died. The doctor told me I could have died, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try it. What's the worst that can happen? I tried for 4 years, then I go to school, and I end up be a roofer, whatever. Do you have roofing school? But and then so I said I'd give myself 4 years, and if I can make a living at it, if I was making a living for 4 years, I'll keep doing it. And I literally, my 4th year of comedy, I think I made $8,500.
Oh wow, that's great.
That's cool. I was eating 1 piece of pizza a day living in San Francisco.
That's part of
I lived, right? I didn't die.
That's what I'm saying. That's part of the experience, of the fact that you can confirm, oh, I can make money now.
Yeah,
so
it's not easy, man.
Do you have any advice for the young comics, any somebody that's inspired by you the way you were inspired by Pryor? Or?
Yeah, Pryor and Dean Carvey. I would say, you know, you have to find your truth, man. It's such a weird. It sounds so big, and I saw Carlin one time talking about comedy, so I really hate talking about comedy without being funny about it.
Yeah.
But find the truth, man, and whatever your truth is, everyone thinks that, oh, no one's gonna give a shit what I said. No one's gonna care about that. But your truth is everybody's truth, because you're a human being like everybody else. Like when I went to bed about my mom in a mental hospital, I was on stage in Raleigh, Durham, and I was like, no one's gonna get this. People are gonna just look at me and you're a douche. And you know, my mom's crazy. I don't mean mom's crazy. I mean we, the jury, find the defendant. And it got a huge laugh, and I was choked up because I'd never talked about it before. So I was like, I'm talking to my mom, and they're laughing. Then by the 10th show, we just went away. So find your truth, tell your truth over and over, and what will happen is you'll find the absurdity in your own life, and then, you know, write some dick jokes.
That never fails, right?
See, that was my dog. I agree. Yeah. More dick jokes.
Are there any modern day comics that you're inspired by, or just you watch
no, of course. You know, I watched Dana Carvey's last special. You know what? It's weird. 2 things. I watched Robin Williams' last special this last week, and I was like, some of it was so brilliant. And then he closed this whole bit with Popeye jerking off, and I remember just having this weird moment of like, wow, other it was so brilliant. Then he closed with Popeye jerking off, and as a comic, I'm like, but why? Yeah. You just did all the brilliant stuff, and but he's brilliant. Am I inspired by? You know what I'm really inspired by most of the time, when people have the balls to go to a place where the audience doesn't want them to go and get out of it. Like guys like, you know, I mean Bill Hicks, you know, I can watch old Hicks and I can, well, there's not going to be any new Hicks, but I can watch, you know, some of the guys, Sam Kinison, and some of the guys that would go to the darkest room they can find. Pryor, if you still watch Pryor, man, Pryor, there's a bit he does, like if you break what Pryor did down, there's a bit he does where he's shooting holes in his Rolls Royce in front of his wife who's trying to leave, and he's a black man with white police, and this is the early 70s, and even now in LA that would get you shot, and he's boom, and the situation is rough, and it's so funny, and that's when I started to think, wow, I guess my mom in a mental hospital is kind of funny, because if you write down what I talk about, it's not funny.
Yeah.
Mom's suicide, mom's shooting a guy, dad's drinking, dad's abuse. You know, it's my horrible divorce, but yeah, you know, whatever. Yeah. Find the fun in the darkness.
That's good. I also noticed you're kind of, I mean, not to the point of Jim Carrey, but you're kind of physical on stage more so than a lot of comics.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, you know, isn't it a show, man? It's a show, right? And there's a guy there's a guy named Arnold Engelman who takes out Eddie Izzard and John Leguizamo, and he saw Love Is Evil, and he sat me down. And he goes, "Listen," he goes, he said something that inspired. He said, "I think you could be a world-class comedian. I want to take you worldwide. So we're gonna go. I think we're going to Edinburgh in Scotland in August, and I think we're gonna go to Australia later." And we'll see how it works around the world.
Well, that's amazing. That's cool.
You know, it doesn't, you know, look, if you write a good joke, that's one thing. A lot of guys can say, I can do a good joke. So if you can do a good joke and then you add the motion to it, or you add the acting on top of it, it makes a 7 joke a 10 joke, you know, on the scale. So if you give it all you got, man, what's the point? It's a really short life. Have fun.
Yeah. Okay, so you had Norman Rockwell in Bleeding, and then you had Love Is Evil. So one is, categorized as stand-up comedy, and the other is categorized as a one-man show.
I think they're all, you know, you can't. I saw Lily Tomlin years ago do Signs of Intelligent Life. Norman Rockwell's Bleeding was written as a one-person show. End of the World was written as a show. Basically, I wanted people to stop being afraid about 9/11. So I started with this premise: how do I bring my kids into this world when everything's on fire? So the entire show is about the world coming apart and keeping my kids alive in it. And this third show is about my divorce. It's all 90 minutes about relationships. All 3 shows that I filmed are kind of a one-person show. The new one is called Neverlution, and it's about how, like, we're the first generation. This generation that's born now is not going to live as long as we do.
Yeah.
And some of them need to die, frankly. Some of them really don't deserve to live that long. So we're kind of de-evolving now, and it's about how our world is kind of coming apart. How I don't want my kids to find out my screw-ups, because then I can't teach them. Like that's why I was breaking in the idea of, oh God, if they find out what an idiot I am, then I'm done. I have no more authority in my own house. So yeah, so that's the new show, man. I'm working on it. It's really disjointed. I really hated it. I mean, there was moments I was like, okay, that's kind of funny, but it's, you know, my buddy Tommy seen me in desperate situations, and I can pull something out of my ass and make it funny, but he can always tell. There's a story I wrote when I wrote my dad's funeral bit in End of the World tour. It's a 22-minute bit at my dad's funeral. I riffed it, and it was funny enough so I didn't have to write it. So one night in Pittsburgh, it was just kind of funny, but there was this section that sucked, man. It sucked ass. And so that night, Saturday, I spent all day at Pittsburgh writing, and I rewrote the entire show. And I worked on it, I rehearsed it for 3 hours, and I went to the show that night, and I did it, and the audience went nuts. And I get off stage, and my buddy Tommy goes, "Wow, that's what happens when you write, huh?" So you gotta write. You gotta write it down. Find out. Pick the words like fucking. You gotta pick the words. Yeah, you know why? If you look at guys like Dennis Miller, they put these words together. You're like, no one really thought of that. You wrote that, but if you say it like you just thought of it, you just thought of it.
Right, so
Insight. Yeah, it's for kids who have their adulthood's insight. It's for the older kids who are in foster homes. Because when you become 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, you're just an adult to everybody else. And they're like, dude, get the fuck out, you're on your own. Well, the problem is those kids were into 28 in foster homes, and they don't know the world. So when we start bugging people for money, I'm like, listen, why should we give you charity? Well, okay, all right, well, because this kid's 15, 16, 17, he's going to be out on his own in a couple of years. And this money's going to help him either he's going to move into your neighborhood as your neighbor, or he's going to drive to your neighborhood in the middle of the night and steal your shit. So this money will help him be your neighbor. And most of the time, even people are like, oh, well, yeah, I'll donate to that. I like my TV.
Well, that's good. How did you come to choosing that, idea of those children who usually are neglected?
Because in a weird way, a lot of people say I talk to my dad, and I'm so tough on my dad, but my dad, without my dad being who he was, like, my mom was totally crazy, and if I ended up with my mom, when I was with my mom, we were actually living in a garage. Like, it was like a garage door opener was the front door key. That's how we got in the house. I had this dad so my dad took me back when I was 14. He really was hard on me, but without him being a real dad, I would never be an adult. And so I thought, when I was 14, had I not had my dad, I don't know what I would have done. And we went to a place called My Friend's Place in LA. And My Friend's Place, we go there, and basically they're the front lines of teen homelessness. And what they do is they just have the doors open, and kids can come in the night, get a hoodie, out of a bin, or they can get some food. And one of the guys goes, this is what really hit me. The guy goes, these kids have a lot of respiratory problems. And I go, why? And he goes, oh, because they live near the freeway. I go, well, where in the freeway? The neighborhood's near the freeway? And the dude goes, no, in the bushes near the freeway. So these kids are living on the edges of LA traffic, sucking exhaust fumes all day. And I was like, wow. So The new charity, we're gonna do it. I think we're doing it in March. We're doing it in the middle of March.
Anything that you're interested in doing that you haven't even touched in? Or?
Oh yeah, when I have a meeting with the network president, I'm gonna shut the fuck up. That's what I'll be doing.
That's the next thing.
Yeah, that's the next thing I'll be doing. That's the next thing I'll be doing.
That's cool.
Hey, it's Christopher Titus, and you're watching SacramentoComedy.com, where we take comedy and analyze it and analyze it and analyze it till it stops being comedy. Thanks.